That's the bottom line, because Stone Cold said so.
Welcome to the Bottom Line Wrestling Cast, the career of Stone Cold Steve Austin, where we cover the career of Stone Cold Steve Austin all the way back from his debut in 1995 as the Ringmaster. And at this point, we're all the way up to December of 1998 and into January 1999. And that's what we'll be covering this week here on the Bottom Line Wrestling Cast. I'm Mike Prue, along with JV. JV, how you doing this week?
Doing well, man. Pumped to be back with another one of those block rockin' beats.
Back with another one of those block rockin' beats.
I don't know. I always wanted to say that.
Well,
has no relevance to wrestling, but
yeah. Well, you said it, and there it is. And
yeah.
then I
marked off the bucket list.
Yeah, and then I had to try to replicate it.
Yeah, cringy. Just a little
cringe-worthy
to start the show.
Hopefully, we didn't lose listeners within the first 15 seconds.
They're like, "Fuck this," and unsubscribe.
Who the fuck are these guys? Nerds.
Yeah.
Well, yeah,
who was that anyway? Like the Chemical Brothers or something?
Yeah,
fucking know.
Something like that. Not Fatboy Slim, maybe.
Yeah, that sounds right.
I think you're right with the Chemical Brothers. So anyway, this week, like I said, we're covering December 98 into January 99. In our last episode, episode 38, was the Ministry episode where Undertaker had a sacrifice for Austin. But last week we did a special edition episode because it was the 4th of July, so we weren't going to be around to record our regular type of episode like we're doing this week. So we did the special edition watch along. We did it with Alex Dorio from the Talking Taker podcast, and that was a hell of a good time. I really enjoyed that.
Yeah, that was cool. He's a really good dude. First time I met him, and what a hell of a first impression Alex made. So
yeah, great dude. Seems like a great dude. So definitely check out Talking Taker and listen to their podcast about the career of the Undertaker. And last week we watched the Buried Alive match from Rock Bottom, which we're going to briefly cover today. And we also watched the Capital Carnage match, which was really cool. Really cool match at Capital Carnage. The Fatal 4-Way match. So, if you haven't listened to that yet, and we've had good listens on that, so if you're one of the ones out there that hasn't listened yet, take a listen to it. And you can watch along, of course, and that's the format of it, but you don't always have to watch along. It's just as entertaining without it. But either way.
Yeah, because unlike some other watch-alongs, we actually very faintly play the audio in the background of the actual match, so that
yeah, you can hear what's going on.
Need to, yeah, it's a good experience. Give it a chance if you haven't yet.
Exactly. All right, so let's get into it here. Basically, as I said, we're getting into just coming off of Capital Carnage and the build up to Rock Bottom. So we're going to briefly cover that in a second. But before we get to that, I also want to point out that JV and I are now doing the Extreme ECW Livecast on the BTT Booking the Territory podcast Patreon feed on patreon.com/bookingtheterritory.com. So if you go there, you sign up to $5 tier, and you can listen to more of JV and I talk about ECW all the way back in their early days of 1993. And last week we dropped episode 4, where we covered Hardcore TV from May 18th and May 25th of 1993. So you're interested in more podcasts from JV and I, well, there it is. So take a listen to it, sign up. If you like it, stay with it. If not, well, cancel it. So that's another option out there if you want more podcasts. And it's a great network too. So guys at Booking the Territory put a lot of content out there, so you'll get your money's worth for sure if you want it. All right, JV, so let's get into it here. Rock Bottom pay-per-view was December 13th, 1998 from Vancouver, British Columbia in Canada. And before we get to the main event, just briefly want to recap. There was a WWF Championship match. It was The Rock, WWF Champion, versus Mankind. And Mankind got screwed in that match. So he actually, you would think he won the match. He got the mandible claw. He got Mr. Sacco down The Rock's gullet. And The Rock passed out, and the ref rang the bell and announced Mankind as the winner. But Mr. McMahon comes out of nowhere and says, no, 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 no. The Rock passed out. He never said I quit. He never submit. He wasn't pinned. So Mankind is not the WWF champion. And it ends there with that. So Mankind gets screwed there. And I don't remember it building up as much as it did. We know Mankind's about to win it soon. That's what we're going to get to later today. Later in this episode, that Mankind ultimately is going to win that WWF championship. But I didn't know it was over a month of build to him winning it. He got screwed numerous times on the way to winning it, actually. And this is...
I think at the time, I don't think I anticipated Mankind actually winning the belt. Did you?
No, not at all. I don't think anybody did.
I don't think really anyone did.
That's what made it so crazy, is that he actually did win.
Yeah, because he just seemed like, like a transition opponent for The Rock before
Stone Cold.
Stone Cold back into the picture. You know what
right.
I mean?
Yeah, because it's the same thing when Austin won the titles, that his matches were against Mankind right after.
Yeah.
So it's like, all right, that's the spot. You have to fight Mankind after you win the title.
He's that guy.
Yeah. All right, so Mankind doesn't get it there. And, that's the big match of the show. There's other matches that we've kind of talked about in the side notes, but nothing was very spectacular other than maybe Deborah doing her striptease. That was pretty good on the pay-per-view. And she started to really get into it, so I did like that. I found myself like, oh, shit, I'm watching this segment. A lot of it I fast-forward through. There was one thing that stood out, though, and it's a nothing match. It's Headbangers versus the Oddities. But at the end of the match, a fan pushes Mosh at the ringside area, and Mosh turns around right away, gets in the guy's face, and spits in his face. And I couldn't believe that. I was like, holy shit. And then they go back, they get the officials, and they're like, kick this guy out, kick this guy out. So the guy gets kicked out after getting spit in the face because he pushed Mosh. So that happened at this show also. But yeah, other than that, the show's not that great. So you get Mankind versus The Rock. That's good. And then you get Steve Austin versus The Undertaker, which I would say, well, that's good because it's Steve Austin versus The Undertaker in a Buried Alive match. But, if you listened to us last week, I rather enjoyed it because I was talking to JV and Alex. But other than that, it's 21 minutes plus. It's a 21-minute match from bell to bell. But there's a lot going on before and after, which makes it about a 40-minute segment. Or even longer. And it's not that good. if you're just watching it by yourself.
Yeah, I can imagine it being very draggy alone watching it.
Yeah. And that's what we said last week on the watch along. Is that watching it with you guys was pretty enjoyable, but other than that, pretty much sucked. It's not considered one of the greatest matches. If you listen to Talking Taker, this is one of their worst matches in Undertaker's career on their list of Undertaker's ranked matches. And yeah, it's not that good. And I think it comes down to the finish, basically, is that they tried to do this elaborate finish with the backhoe coming out to dump all the dirt. And then the guy that was operating the backhoe didn't know how to operate it. And Steve Austin is getting all frustrated, physically and verbally. You can even hear him like, what the hell's going on here?
Yeah. You're ruining my match, bro.
Right.
Basically.
So Steve Austin's going to win. Undertaker's going to get buried. Kane comes out and helps Austin briefly. Not to help Austin, but to stick it to his brother, The Undertaker. And Austin just gets so frustrated with what's going on that he gets to the point where Undertaker's covered in dirt, a little bit covered in dirt, and Austin will drop a few shovelfuls of dirt on him, and then he just walks off and he gets the beers, and then he tells Ebner, ring the fucking bell, basically, and they start drinking beer, and that's over, and that's how it all ends. So it's just kind of blah. And I guess the main point with that match is that the match was meant for the stipulation, rather, is that if Austin wins, he gets in the Royal Rumble. So he's in the Royal Rumble now. And Undertaker's gone, which is a good point to bring up because, we had the beginning of the ministry, Undertaker starting to talk about the ministry, and he gets buried alive. What happens when you're buried alive? You're going to be reborn, right? So
Yep.
the Undertaker is going to be reborn, in the weeks to come, which we'll cover later in this episode. But we get now the Ministry Undertaker. So he was starting it earlier last week, the week before, just the brief references to the Ministry. But now he's totally going to be reborn into this new character of the Ministry Undertaker. So that's kind of the main things that came from this match. So while the match kind of sucked and it didn't make much sense, they were brawling in the ring when they were already brawling at the cemetery area, which is where they should have just stayed the whole match. But, why would you go back and forth if you're trying to get the guy in the fucking hole?
Yeah, I know. Why did they go back to the ring?
Right. So that's all the kind of bullshit that went on with that match. So there you have it there. Undertaker's buried alive. Austin gets his chance in the Royal Rumble. And the thing is now, for the next few weeks of WWF TV, you're not going to see Austin or The Undertaker. Undertaker's buried alive, and Austin is just not on TV. There's apparently an injury with Austin, and he's going to be off for a little bit while things start to build up with the Corporation and Mankind, which I thought was pretty good to transition that. So, yes, Austin had an injury, but, hey, it worked out because now you get Austin off of TV for a little while, so he doesn't get stale. Not that probably Austin would get stale, but it allows for them now to build up The Rock as the champion, Corporation as the heels, trying to screw Austin, trying to screw Mankind during this month. December is usually a month where it's tough for people to watch wrestling because of Christmas coming up and, all that in the new year. Usually it falls like right around Christmas and, an episode would be all like on Christmas Eve. It's like, we're not watching that. So yeah, it is kind of tough time. So Austin's off TV during that time, but things are still building up. So we're going to go through a lot of what happened. And the reason why is because it's still related to Austin's career. It's still the career of Stone Cold Steve Austin. The story is building to him. Ultimately, even with somebody else winning the title, it's still all about Austin when you really break it down. So let's now get into it. So we have on Raw 290, which is the next night, 214, and I don't want to go through all of it in detail, because like I said, it's not Austin, but it is kind of related. So some things will stick out more as being related, and some things I'll just kind of go through pretty quickly. So, the first one that's notable is that on Raw 290 from December 14th, 1998 in Tacoma, Washington, DX is going to do their skit. They're going to impersonate the Corporation. So I thought that was pretty funny to me, just to see it happen again.
I loved it. Yeah.
It's about 6 months later, basically, from the first time they did it, when they impersonated the Nation of Domination. I think that was back in June of 98. Now here in December, they're making fun of the Corporation. So Triple H is going to take on his croc role again. And then you get the other guys doing their thing. I like China as the big boss man. That was pretty funny.
Yeah.
But she had the nightstick and she's twirling it all around.
Yeah. My favorite, though, was X-Pac as Shamrock. I just thought that was so he's just screaming the whole time.
Yeah. Because that's all Shamrock does.
Knuckle shuffle time. So good.
So, yeah, that's definitely something that is worth going back to check out from Raw 290. Basically, just it's a comedy skit. It's pretty funny, so check that out. The Rock does come out and says that he doesn't like what the hell's going on, and he does his Capital Carnage promo now. I know not all of you watched Capital Carnage pay-per-view, but it's out there on the network, so definitely take a watch. And watch that Fatal 4-Way match that we did a watch along last week. But The Rock was testing out a promo at Capital Carnage, and he uses it here again, where he starts to do like other catchphrases. He's gonna do like Hulk Hogan's catchphrase, and then he's gonna stop himself, and then he does Ric Flair's, and then he pauses and stops. No, that's not it. Then he does Macho Man's, and no, that's not it. And then he tries to do everybody, like he's doing a bunch of them. And, you know, he did it at Capital Carnage, so I just wanted to point that out, that he had done it previously the week before, and it was pretty damn funny. So he's like, all right, I'm going to use this in the U.S. now, because not everybody's seen it at that point. If you didn't live in the UK, you didn't see that pay-per-view yet. So, just a notable thing there. Okay, later on 290, you have new tag team champions crowned. Bossman and Shamrock are going to win the titles from the New Age Outlaws. And then that will bring us now to our first audio clip of the episode, also from Raw 290. Vince McMahon's going to come out. He's going to come out with Shane, and he wants to point out that Mankind needs to get his ass kicked tonight. I don't know why he's already starting with Mankind, but to that Mankind, we want you to get beat up. And they start to talk about how Kane got involved in the main event between Austin and Undertaker, and they're not happy about that either. And he's going to put Mankind in a no-holds-barred match against Kane later in the night. But then he gets to the main part of the promo, and that's the corporate tumbler, the Royal Rumble lottery. And they're going to draw the numbers for Steve Austin. So let's take a listen to what Vince has to say and where Austin's going to end up in the Royal Rumble lottery.
And now then, to show you that the McMahon family never goes back on its word, Austin has indeed qualified to be in the Royal Rumble. We will now choose right here before you tonight the very number, on this side, Shane, please, the very number that Austin will enter the Royal Rumble.
There's the corporate tumbler.
This will determine the slot that Stone Cold Steve Austin will enter the ring for the Royal Rumble next month in Anaheim.
Who's going to choose? Mr. McMahon himself.
Just a moment, be patient. Be patient.
Yes, be patient.
And the number is...
Don't let everybody see it first.
The number is, Austin has chosen number 1.
Whoa, man.
How convenient.
What a bad break for Steve
Austin's
Austin.
the first man to enter the Royal Rumble. Luck of the draw.
How convenient. Give me
I
a
don't think
break.
it's quite fair that Austin gets number 1.
Huh?
How about, since it's the holiday season and that the McMahon family, in the spirit of giving, let's give Austin one more chance.
No,
No, let's do one more chance. We'll keep that out. Let's draw one more time. Allow me.
What? I don't think Mr. McMahon's too pleased with Shane.
You know, Shane is one of the owners.
All right.
So they're going to draw again.
Just because it's the holiday season.
So the worst he can do is 2 here,
No.
King.
What number has he drawn?
And the number is, I can't believe this, Stone Cold Steve Austin has drawn number 1.
Oh, come on. The corporate team rigged the damn tumbler.
It's unanimous. Austin has drawn number 1.
This is ridiculous.
Now then, Mr. Austin, there are 29 other competitors in this Royal Rumble. And hear me out, Austin. Whichever one of the 29 competitors throws Stone Cold over the top rope will collect, courtesy of one of Shane McMahon's trust funds. That individual who eliminates Austin will be $100,000 richer.
A bounty.
Whoa! $100,000 for the man that throws Austin over the top?
Every man for himself.
Yeah.
Now then, tonight we will name one other participant in this Royal Rumble other than Stone Cold Steve Austin. That individual, ladies and gentlemen, is a superstar who certainly at least equals the skills of Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Who is this?
That individual, ladies and gentlemen, is probably the only superstar in sports entertainment who could possibly save Ted Turner's WCW.
Who's he talking about, King?
What? But the World Wrestling Federation has him. And he will compete for the very first time ever in the Royal Rumble.
What?
Shane, would you please do the honors?
A free agent signing?
Ladies and gentlemen,
This is big.
the McMahon family is proud to present the most omniscient, the most omnipotent sports entertainer in the history of sports entertainment. Give it up, ladies and gentlemen, for Mr. Vincent K. McMahon.
What? What? Mr. McMahon's going to compete in the Royal Rumble? What? First off, they rigged the tumbler.
You damn right.
Oh, my.
Now then, just to show you that this luck of the draw is on the up and up, Shane, I want to know what number I'll be entered at, and I just hope it's number 2.
Well, I mean, they've already rigged the tumbler, so it's got to be number 1 or 2. Vince in the Rumble. Give me a break.
Wait a minute.
And Vince McMahon will enter the World Wrestling Federation's Royal Rumble as number 30. I'm sorry.
There's only 30 men in the Rumble.
He's the luckiest man on
Austin's,
earth.
he's number 1, I'm number 30.
Oh, man.
That seems fair to me. You see, Austin, there's just one more reason other than 100,000 of them why there is no chance in hell you'll ever again be the World Wrestling Federation champion. I thank you very much.
All right, so of course Austin is going to get chosen number 1. I was watching this with my wife, and she noticed, and she was like, "Of course, number 1." What is it? All number 1s in there? It's like, yeah, probably. That's probably how it worked. And Shane says, in the spirit of the season, Christmas season, we're gonna draw again, and then there's another number 1. So there you have it. So Austin gets number 1, and they're gonna put out there that whoever eliminates Austin in the Royal Rumble is gonna get $100,000 as a bounty. So everyone's gonna go after Austin in the Rumble. They're setting that up. Which the year before he said he was a marked man. He's a marked man. Everybody's going to want to try to eliminate him from even making it to the Rumble. And especially in the Rumble, they're going to try to get rid of him. But then Shane has one more major announcement. They're going to announce another participant, a second participant in the Royal Rumble. He has the skills equal of Stone Cold, the only superstar that can save Ted Turner's WCW, which is true. He was the only one that could save WCW. Fucking bought it. But the WWF has him and will compete for the very first time in the Royal Rumble. And, of course, it's Vince McMahon. And that's pretty damn cool. That was a nice little twist at the time. Holy shit, Vince McMahon's actually going to be in this?
Yeah, it was. So, I mean, he always wanted to be a wrestler, right?
Right.
Deep down inside.
And now he actually has this character, so yeah, I'll give it a shot.
Yeah.
I'll get in the ring. And it's good because he can be that heel that could be just trying to get away with things. For instance, we'll get to it when we get to the Royal Rumble next week, but he goes in as number 2, but he's not in most of the match. So he finds his way to be a little sneaky heel, which is great. So there he is. He's in it, and they're going to draw his number. Vince says he wants number 2. I want number 2 because he wants to kick Austin's ass.
Full of shit.
Yeah. Then Shane draws number 30, of course. So I guess there was more than 1s in there. There was a 30 in there. But they don't show the 30, right?
No,
Yeah,
they don't.
yeah.
They don't show any of the numbers.
show-
and even when they pull the numbers,
No.
Shane's kind of like protecting the numbers.
Yeah, they show the 1 time, though.
Well, they did.
Yeah.
I didn't catch that.
So that's why I was like, I guess they're all 1s because they didn't want to fuck that up when they showed the camera shot of it. But yeah, when they said 30, they didn't show it at all. So there you go. He gets number 30, and Austin's number 1. And then we get the line. There's no chance in hell you will ever be the World Heavyweight Champion again. I thank you very much. And then right after that, which is not in the clip that you heard, Mankind gets on the Titantron, starts yelling at Vince that he's going to see Vince in the ring and Mankind wants to fight him. But they had already established earlier in the night that it's going to be Mankind versus Kane. But it doesn't really happen that way. So you get a little brawl going on with them, Kane and Mankind, to start. But then Vince McMahon comes out right away and tells Mankind that he can have him, but it needs to be in a parking lot street fight. So Mankind goes after McMahon, and Kane is going to get attacked by Shamrock and Boss Man. They put a straitjacket on him, and he's going to go to the nut house again, I guess. The orderlies come down. He gets sent to the nut house. And then they're fighting outside, Mankind and Vince McMahon. McMahon gets shoved into a fence. He starts getting beat down. The Stooges come out. Stooges end up getting beat up by Mankind. Mankind puts Sacco in Vince McMahon's mouth. And then The Rock comes out to make the save. And The Rock is going to rock bottom Mankind on the hood of a car. Which looked pretty damn good. Pretty solid. That brings us to, I guess, this is the main event of that show. That was Raw 290. You get Triple H versus The Rock for the Heavyweight Championship. And it's a pretty damn good match. But the only thing that really stood out to me, that pisses me off, and I've said this.
Here it comes. Brace yourselves, listeners.
Earl Hebner. And I know he's just booked this way. I know he's not doing all this on his own. But he's being booked this way. And he doesn't give a fuck. He's just like, yeah, this is I'm going to do whatever they're told. Whatever they tell me to do is what I'm going to do. So you have Earl Hebner. He's going to leave the ring. That's the thing that annoys me the most. And the way it comes is that Triple H is going to hit The Rock. The Rock's going to try to flee. He goes out to the ringside. HBK starts to get involved. He grabs Triple H. Chyna's going to nut The Rock. And then when that happens, Earl Hebner jumps out of the ring to yell at Chyna for doing that. So he leaves the ring to reprimand Chyna for hitting The Rock in the nuts. Meanwhile, Triple H gets hit with the title belt while Hebner is outside yelling at Chyna. When the fuck does the ref leave the ring to go yell at somebody else? He's supposed to stay in the ring. Stay in the damn ring.
Yeah. Umpires don't leave baseball games. Refs don't leave basketball games.
So that was the first thing. It's going to get worse, guys.
Like you're an official.
Yeah.
Act like one.
It's actually going to get worse than that. So as I was saying, this is the way they're booking him, whatever. But still, he should just understand like the basic role of the referee and be like, that doesn't make sense for me to do that. So I'm not doing that. Find something else. But he just wants his fucking paycheck, and keep in mind the person that was behind part of the Montreal screw job was Earl Hebner. He was involved. He likes to say that
it doesn't get any more yes man than him.
He likes to say that he wasn't, but of course he was.
He was.
Fuck him.
Watch the tape.
Yeah.
He definitely was.
So then, like I said, it gets worse. Chyna starts to choke HBK, which is a whole other thing because HBK and Chyna fighting each other. We'll get to that in a little bit. But Chyna's choking HBK, and Earl Hebner jumps out of the ring again. Why the fuck does he care about that? It's Chyna and HBK, two non-competitors in the match. He leaves the ring to yell at Chyna again. And he's like struggling with Chyna and HBK on the announce table, like telling them to stop it. But meanwhile, you have cheating going on in the ring. And a fucking blonde dude, who we know to become Test, comes out, does a pump handle slam. And then immediately, when Earl Hebner's head is not even facing the ring, he just automatically like turns around like a fucking robot. Like, I gotta turn. And then he goes and makes 3 count. So it's not like he noticed it from like the side of his face or whatever. It's like, oh shit, there's a pinfall going on while I'm out here doing jack shit. Like I shouldn't even be out here in the first place. But this guy's trying to make a cover. So yeah, I'm right there on Johnny on the spot now. So it just looks so ridiculous. I mean, obviously Sean or Chyna was like, hey, Earl, go now, go. And then he just went back in the ring and made the 3 count. Sucked. Totally sucked. So that's what happens there. The Rock retains the championship because of Test and because of shitty Earl Hebner. Fucking debut of Test. And then you got Michael Cole on commentary because JR is still out because he had Bill Palsy incident. and he's out. Yep. And you got Michael Cole in commentary, who's just another yes man, another stooge for the WWF, WWE, even to this day, where he just does what he's told and doesn't care about sounding authentic and being a good announcer. He's just, all right, I'll just do whatever the fuck I'm being told. Which I guess you can't blame him in this kind of work environment where you're trying to make money and keep your job.
But, and especially now, good idea considering now they're the only show in town. Well,
right. Well,
up until like a couple months ago, at least.
Well, he definitely wouldn't be able to work anywhere else. But this is not even a big deal what he says, but it becomes one only because he says it all the time. That's Molly Crew's bodyguard. That's Molly Crew's bodyguard. And you can tell that they're only saying that like, oh, we need to make that connection to who he was a month ago when we brought him out and we never talked about him again or never showed him again. So now a month later, like, oh, that's that bodyguard from that one Motley Crue segment that nobody remembers. So that's that bodyguard. Yeah. So he says it week after week, which was pretty annoying. So yeah, that's what we got from that match, and and then actually on Heat the next week on December 20th, there was a decent match. If you ever want to watch some Heat, go to Heat 21. You get a fatal four-way: The Rock versus Mankind, Bossman, and Shamrock, which obviously is a lopsided match because it's all Corporation against Mankind. But to the build to Mankind winning the title, it's a good little match, good little segment building up to that. That'll bring us now to the next night. On Raw, 291, December 21st, 1998. You have Shane come out, and Shane's in charge this week because Vince McMahon is training for the Royal Rumble. So he's off doing his little Rocky things. They show little segments of him training in the gym, the gym at the WWF Titan Towers. And he's in his gym, and Shane McMahon's like yelling at him, like, your intensity is for shit. Doing all that kind of motivational shit, trying to get McMahon pumped up for his Royal Rumble appearance. So that's why he's missing this week, is because he's training. And Shane's in charge. He's in charge. And also Vince does say he'll be back later because he has a corporate bonus. A big bonus. And the Stooges think it's money. But they're going to be sorely disappointed.
Very disappointed.
And I think the fans probably be disappointed too with this special bonus. So DX is going to come out, and Triple H is going to state that while Shane may have the keys to the kingdom, that he has the keys to the boiler room. And then Mankind comes out. And the funny part about this is that at the end, Mankind cuts a little promo on Shane, saying that he's a silver spoon-sucking sissy. And he says that because Shane thinks that he's going to kick Mankind's ass later in the night. He challenges Mankind. And Mankind just laughs. And Triple H is laughing. He's doubling over. He's laughing. And then it ends with Triple H saying, suck it. And then Mankind does a crotch chop too. So, like an awkward crotch chop. Like, hey, I can do it. Does this look good? Does this look good? That kind of thing.
Looking for reassurance.
Yeah. And they also set up some other matches with the Corporation. And I'll just briefly cover those now. You got Raw 291 again. We're on December 21st. It's Billy Gunn versus Shamrock. And it's for the IC title. It's going to look like Billy Gunn wins the title, but Shawn Michaels comes out later after the match and says that, no, this was never a title shot. I said you had a match with Ken Shamrock. I never said it was for the Intercontinental Championship. So Billy Gunn doesn't win the Intercontinental Championship, so he gets screwed there. Just another instance. Like I said 2 weeks ago on our episode 38, I did say I wanted to follow along with the storyline of HBK and DX to see if it made sense, and it's not making any fucking sense. Because HBK is screwing DX left and right. He's getting choked out by China. He's hitting other people in DX. So what ultimately comes doesn't make any sense at all.
No, it doesn't. I almost felt like, did I miss something?
Yeah.
Was there something I missed? Like, I thought, oh, maybe this was his plan the whole time, but it totally wasn't the case.
No plan. But we do have a title change that actually does take place. It's Road Dogg versus Big Boss Man, and Road Dogg is going to win the Hardcore Championship from Big Boss Man with the help of Mankind. Mankind's going to come out, put a net over Big Boss Man, and whack him, and then Road Dogg's going to get the win there. So, new Hardcore Champion, Road Dogg. And then we get to Shane McMahon versus Mankind. The Stooges are telling Shane McMahon not to do it. and Shane gets out there. He gets some punches in, but he gets DDT'd. Shawn McMichaels is holding all the rest of the corporation back for a little bit, and Mankind has the mic. He has his chair, and he wants Shane to get up. And it says he has a Christmas surprise for him, and he wants Shane to hit him, and Shane's gonna take it, and Mankind's like encouraging him to do. He says, "Grow some balls, you gutless coward." And then Shane finally does hit him with it, but it doesn't even do anything to Mankind. And then Mankind just kicks the shit out of him, and then Patterson, Briscoe run down, and they start to get their ass kicked too, and it's just pretty comedic that you get Briscoe, Patterson, and Shane McMahon just getting bumped around by Mankind. So they're building up Mankind a little bit here against these corporate stooges. And you still have HBK, he's holding everybody else back. And Mankind's going to get Sacco on Shane. And then The Rock finally does come down, and it ends in a DQ. So Rock saves the day for Shane McMahon. DX is going to come down at that point. X-Pac's going to do a Bronco Buster to Shane McMahon, which is it looked pretty fucking crazy. He's just bouncing up and down.
Yeah, that's such an awesome move. It's ridiculous, but it's awesome in its own right.
So Shane basically got his ass kicked by Mankind, by DX, and Briscoe and Patterson are starting to like shit their pants. Like, what's Vince McMahon gonna do? What's he gonna do to us? So Pat said, "I'll handle this. I'll do all the talking." And then Vince McMahon gets pissed right away. Like, forget about the bonus. Is what Briscoe says. Patterson says to Briscoe, "Forget about the bonus. We're not getting any bonus. We screwed up. We fucked up our job."
Like a good employee.
Yep. So later on in the night, you get Triple H and X-Pac. You got DX against Rock and his partner Test. Fucking Test, who is the new fake Diesel. All his things are like, all his moves are Diesel.
Yeah, he's Kevin Nash.
Yeah, he's a wannabe Kevin Nash at a time where Kevin Nash is the champion. I believe he's the champion at this point.
Yeah, I mean he's a focal point.
Or
maybe he's not. If he's the champion.
Yeah, maybe he's not the champion,
but
he's up there as one of the main guys.
He's like a top 5 guy there. He's
right. So they have this match. The thing with Michael Cole is, as I was saying before, he just keeps bringing up the Motley Crue thing. It's kind of like with Earl Hebner, where I was saying he just does what he's told. Michael Cole, he just does what he's told all the time, and it's been that way for 22 years. If you listen to an episode of Raw, even today, you can tell that he's just being fed lines, fed like talking points to say over and over again. So it's not like he has any real skill of his own to get things over. He's just been told what to say over and over again. So he's never really learned his own craft. He just knows how to listen, basically. And I guess that's kind of really shitting on
him. Rest in peace, Test.
Yeah. Fucking Test. Fucking Michael
you lived a dream that a lot of people wish they could do, but regardless.
All right, so Kane's going to fucking save the day here and in this shit match. And I guess he's out of the nut house. And the reason why he's out of the nut house is because Vince McMahon got him out of the nut house. So he sent him to the nut house, took him out. And he's the corporate surprise, apparently, the corporate bonus. And Kane's going to chokeslam Triple H. Then he gets Billy Gunn. The Rock's going to come down. He gets chokeslammed. Road Dogg gets chokeslammed. Everyone's fucking getting chokeslammed. And Chyna gets in. And then she's about to get chokeslammed, but he lets her go at that point. So Kane, the show ends at that point. Now Kane is the surprise. He's not fully corporate Kane because he doesn't want to do it. So he's like coerced into being with the corporation in a way. So it's not like it's his choice. Whereas it's later, later like a decade later or so, when he's corporate Kane wearing a suit, it's a little different than that corporate Kane. Which is crazy to think that just like over a decade later, there's still the corporation or corporate Kane. And what the fuck? They need to shake things up. All right, so there it was. That's Corporate Kane. Now we go to Raw 292. from December 28th. And the Corporation is out looking for Mankind. And Michael Cole starts the show with one of the most annoying lines that I've heard on back-to-back Raws in a while. And I hope he doesn't continue it on. But he says, "We welcome you to the greatest action-adventure series on television." I don't know if you heard that when you were watching. But that's how
No, I didn't catch that. I did see it in your notes. I'm like, doesn't surprise me.
And that's another one of the things where, like, he is told to say that stupid-ass line. And he just fucking says it. Yeah, I would too, I guess, though. But yeah, that fucking sucked. So they were starting all this bullshit all the way back then, too. The greatest action-adventure series. It's not fucking Indiana Jones. It's fucking wrestling. Action-adventure series. Alright, so you have this opening segment. They're looking for Mankind. And we'll just get to the heart of this episode here. You get Vince McMahon. He's kind of making fun of Kane. So we're starting to get to that point where what they say about Kane would not be appropriate today, basically. Where he's, the big red,
R word.
Yeah, big red R word.
We've said it enough in prior episodes.
Yeah, we don't need to keep saying it.
Yeah, we'll say fuck. We'll say all these other words. But that word, no need.
No. You know what it is if you watched it. And you know what R word means today. All right, so Road Dogg's going to defend his hardcore title against Val Venus. The only reason why I bring this match up, because other than that, it's like pointless. But Shawn Michaels is going to get the blame for all that happened last week with Shane McMahon getting beat up and all that. So they point out that Shane McMahon is going to get the blame. He's going to be fired later in the night. They mentioned that during this match. So that's what they're kind of building to in this episode, is that HBK is fired. But there will be the confrontation later. Triple H is going to have a match against Ken Shamrock for the IC title. Again, really a nothing match. Shamrock's going to grab Triple H, put him in an ankle lock. He's crawling towards the rope, and he finally gets there. Shamrock's going to break the hold. The bell gets rung, and Shamrock's going to get pissed off. DX comes down, and the Corporation enters. Then you get Kane finally coming down, and then DX runs away when Kane shows up. So now you get Corporate Kane there. They're still building on that, and Corporate Kane's going to have a match with Billy Gunn, and it's just chokeslam party, basically. And then you get Road Dogg, who was just helped to win the hardcore title by Mankind, is up against Mankind. So The Rock is on commentary for this match. Mankind is going to get the mandible claw applied on Road Dogg. And then he's going to give the elbow onto Road Dogg on the table, on the announce table. The Rock comes in and gives Mankind a rock bottom on the table. Road Dogg's going to cover him for the win, and he retains the hardcore title. So that's more to build up Mankind and The Rock by having The Rock on commentary and causing him to lose and not win the hardcore title back. Then we get to the end here. We get to HBK getting fired, which is a cool segment, but next week it's all going to be pointless. It's going to make no sense. So Vince is in the ring. He's going to tell Team Corporate to stay in the back. HBK has arrived. They didn't think he was going to be there, but he arrives. So Vince calls him out and says he wants to face him. He wants to go up face to face with them. So HBK comes out to his Heartbreak Kid music, and Vince states that Shawn became a star only because of him, only because of all the money they invested into him. That's why he became a big star. And he says, "You need me." And basically, the way it breaks down is that McMahon's going to tell him, "Yeah, you're a great superstar and everything, all because of me. But as a commissioner, you suck." It says, plain and simple as that. As a commissioner, you suck. So he said, "Let me begin with these parting words. Vince McMahon does not lay down for anybody." Which is funny because that's what Shawn Michaels always would say. "A Heartbreak Kid lays down for no one."
Nobody.
Right.
Nobody.
Yeah, something like that. Well, either way, yeah.
Yeah.
So he says, "Shawn."
Semantics.
Right. Yeah, I think you're right, though. "Shawn, you're fired." And then at the 1 hour, 37-minute mark, 33 seconds, HBK, he kind of looks away. And then, boom, you get sweet chin music. Not totally to the chin, more towards the chest, I think. But still, knocks Vince McMahon down. Shawn Michaels starts to do his little striptease thing. Sound like the hump the air above above Vince McMahon as the show ends. And Team Corporate's going to run down. Shawn runs off. And that's the end of the episode. So the chief, the corporate chief, is no longer, because he's not going to listen to Vince McMahon's bullshit. So he gave him sweet chin music. So we'll see where it goes from there. That brings us now to a Raw 293, January 4th, 1999, Worcester, Massachusetts. And that was taped on December 28th, 1998. And you have Vince McMahon and HBK start off the show. So they start with a highlight reel of HBK and all his achievements in the WWF. And Vince McMahon's going to interrupt that right away. He says he wants... he says Shawn Michaels will not be here tonight. And he hopes the fans will forgive him for firing Shawn. And no one will ever disparage the name of Shane again. And that's why Shawn Michaels got fired, is because he let Shane McMahon get hurt. And anyone who harms Shane, mentally or physically, will pay. This is going to carry out through the night, that whoever helped cause Shane get hurt will be hurt themselves. But then, as he says that, they pan to the Titantron. You see Shawn Michaels walking in. Vince McMahon's like, what the fuck? The hell? I just said he wasn't going to be here. Now he's here. So Shawn does come out. Then he comes out with his boys. He comes out with DX. What the fuck? Is DX that much of a sucker? Like, hey, you were just screwing us for the past month, but now that you got screwed, we're just going to accept you back. Because you're the man, Shawn. We need you. So, yeah, that didn't make much sense. You had China choking him out the week before. You know, it's not like it was all pretend. They were all faking it. Like, oh, yeah, we know you're going to leave soon, so, yeah. Stupid. Just dumb. Which is crazy, because they just come off of the whole build-up to Deadly Game and how great they did of making everything perfect, where if you went back and watched it, it all made sense. Now, just a month later, they do this. So something may have happened with the storyline, or something may have happened with Shawn Michaels, because he is going to be injured. He does need surgery. So maybe they had to just go a different direction with it. So who knows? I mean, I'm sure there's information out there, but I'm just speculating. So Shawn is the commissioner. It's his contract. It's ironclad. And it's been pointed out that he's in charge of everybody except for Stone Cold. So now HBK is going to point out that, well, Vince McMahon, since you are now a competitor, well, I'm in charge of you too.
Well played.
Yep, that was pretty damn cool. And he says Shawn cannot be fired. The only way that he can be released, well, he can't be released, is the only way that he's going to be gone is if he resigns. And they go back over to the Rumble drawing. They show what they played a couple weeks ago with Austin drawing number 1 and McMahon drawing number 30. So since HBK is in charge of Vince McMahon, he puts him in the Royal Rumble as number 2. And that he hopes that Austin will open up a can of whoop ass on him. Then he has one more little thing for him. Later tonight, I have a surprise for you, and this surprise will drive you stone cold crazy. So the crowd goes nuts, of course, because Stone Cold's been off TV for almost a month at this point. So it's like, yeah, finally, and he's going to be here for us. He's going to be here at the show I'm at. So they're
people that bought tickets and not seeing Stone Cold. I'd be pissed.
Yeah, for those weeks.
The fuck?
Oh, shit, because you would have bought him over a month before, thinking that,
yeah,
like, all right, I'm going to get to see Stone Cold and no Stone Cold. But
and we were huge. I mean, like most people, but I think we were definitely the tippity top as far as being Stone Cold fans at this time.
Yeah.
With probably a crowded tippity top.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I would have been visually pissed. I would have been in a bummer.
Oh, yeah.
I would have bitched about it.
I would have been like, what the fuck? I didn't get to see Stone Cold. I would have had an Austin 316 shirt on and be like, nah, I didn't see him.
Yeah.
So this crowd's excited because they're the lucky ones that get the return of Stone Cold. So there you have that. Mankind's going to cut a hell of a promo later in the night about a couple of funny lines there. He says, I said suck it, because he does the suck it the last week. I said suck it for the first time without a please in front of it. Then the crowd goes crazy, and they laugh for so long that he has to like stop his promo for a second, and then he just like, says off the cuff like, "You guys like that one, huh?" So that was pretty cool. He says, "I have a new hobby of kicking the McMahon's asses." So he's kicked Shane McMahon's ass. He kicked Vince McMahon's ass. So that's his new thing. He talks about Shane McMahon having a little 2-year-old poopy diaper. So it's like you were whimpering like you have a 2-year-old poopy diaper. So Mankind's cutting a pretty damn good promo here. So that's definitely worth going back to check out. But what he's saying basically, though, is that he wants to have a match. He wants a title match. And Vince is going to tell him that you're not going to get a title match. You know, you're a monster. You're disfigured. You're not a contender. Every time you get a title shot, it goes to crap, basically. So you want to have one. Since I'm so nice, and since you want to have another shot, well, you could be in the Royal Rumble if you beat Triple H. So he's gonna give him that one opportunity later tonight to be in the Royal Rumble. Then if you win the Royal Rumble, then you get a title shot. And he also points out, though, that in this match, Shane McMahon is going to be the guest referee. So, Mankind put in a shitty position. But then the match happens here. You get Triple H versus Mankind. And decent match going on here. Ultimately, what happens, though, is that Shane McMahon is going to do a quick pin and screw Mankind. So, Triple H wins the match. Mankind doesn't get into the Royal Rumble. And Triple H is going to grab the mic at the end of the match, in the post-match. And he say, this business is business. I'll do whatever it takes to get into the Royal Rumble. So Triple H gets in the Royal Rumble, so he wants his shot at the title. Business is business. But then he tells Mankind, Happy New Year. And he pedigrees Shane. And he says, he's all yours. So then Mankind gets to Shane. He puts him in like a, I don't know what submission hold on. It's like an arm bar, I guess. Puts him in an arm bar.
Yeah, I don't know what to call it either. Yeah.
So he's trying to break his shoulder, basically. Shane's screaming. Vince McMahon comes out. He tells Mankind to stop. He's begging him to stop. And Mankind says he wants a title shot tonight. Tonight I want a title shot. And I want it to be no DQ. So Shane's screaming and screaming. Vince agrees to it. The Rock comes out all pissed, like, I'm not ready for this. I'm not dressed for this. And he has his sweatsuit outfit on. I'm not ready for this. McMahon says, go get ready. Go get ready. So that match is to come. World Championship match. No DQ. Mankind versus The Rock. January 4th, 1999. Prior to that, you're going to get Corporate Kane kicking the shit out of the Stooges. Because remember, as I said before, anybody that caused Shane McMahon to get his ass kicked last week is going to pay. So the Stooges get their ass kicked by Kane. Much like what happened not that long ago, like a month or two ago, where Briscoe and Patterson got beat up by Kane in the cage for causing Vince to get beat up. Remember?
Yeah, he punishes them.
Right, when he punished them.
Yeah.
So you get.
I like how he holds them accountable.
So you have this pretty similar situation here. So Kane goes after them and just kind of beats them up a little bit. But there's one funny segment where one part of it, Patterson is like pleading with Kane, and Patterson pulls out a cigarette. He offers Kane a cigarette. Then he pulls out a condom in his pocket. Which I don't know how that worked for the live audience, because they're probably like, what the hell's he got in his hand? But for TV, it was pretty funny. So they end up getting chokeslammed, of course. And one last thing before we get to this big main event here is Al Snow versus the Road Dogg. And I mean, it's only mentionable because of a side note that we're going to get to later. And this is when... Actually, no, sorry. this one's notable because HBK is going to get his face smashed into a window. So he had just aligned himself with DX at the beginning of this episode, and he's going to get attacked when he's trying to leave the building. His car keys don't work, and he gets attacked by Bossman and Shamrock, and his face gets smashed into a windshield, and he's off. He gets carted off in an ambulance. So HBK is out of the picture at this point for a while because he's actually going for real surgery, and it might be a while before he's back. So HBK's out of the picture, so he joins DX for kind of no reason, and then he's gone. They should have just not had him with DX, and that would have been fine. You know what I mean? Because
What do you? Who?
HBK.
Should have not had
Right,
him
at
with
the beginning
DX?
of the episode when he came out.
Oh, all right. I took this. What do you mean? Like he should have been with DX? No.
No, I mean, last week he kicked McMahon, and then at the very
Yep,
right,
kicked him in the
then at
face.
the very beginning, so the very next segment basically,
On Raw
right,
293.
he's
yep.
with DX, and then later in this episode he gets beat up, and the reason why he got beat up is because he's going to be off TV for a while. So why even have him be in that
Yep.
first segment with DX? You know, he could have waited months to explain. You know, that he kicked McMahon because he was like fuck McMahon, but that's no reason to just get back with DX.
No, you're right. It is kind of weird how like DX just kind of
Right.
accepts him. Like there's so many plot holes in this whole Shawn Michaels shit.
Yeah, so many.
You know what I mean? Like as far as like why, like right, he turns on DX and now DX takes him back.
Yeah.
Like I don't
It's
know.
all stupid. All right, so let's move on now to the big match. It's Mankind versus The Rock. It's at the 1 hour, 20-minute mark of Raw from January 4th, 1999. And on Nitro, episode 173 of the same night, they were live, a big show for them at the Georgia Dome. And they were going to have a big main event. It was going to be Kevin Nash versus Hulk Hogan. Yeah, so Kevin Nash was the champion at this time. Kevin Nash is the champion versus Hulk Hogan. That was their big match that they were going to have. So they're kind of trying to poo-poo what's going on Raw because Raw was taped a week before while they're live at the Georgia Dome. And Tony Schiavone is going to have a comment fed to him by Eric Bischoff that has become very famous, and many will attribute to kind of like the final nail in the coffin for WCW Nitro. That's the butts in the seats comment. So let's take a listen to what Tony Schiavone had to say early on in the night.
When Hogan walks away, you look at this 40,000 plus on hand. If you're even thinking about changing the channel to our competition, fans do not. Because we understand that Mick Foley, who wrestled here one time as Cactus Jack, is going to win their world title. Oh, gonna put some butts in the seat. There.
All right, so there's that, which has become a notorious comment by Tony Schiavone, which I don't think I heard at the time. Pretty sure I didn't hear it. I don't think I was watching Nitro over Raw. I mean, I've been through and through WWF guy, even during the time where Nitro was hot. Always been on the side of WWF. How about you, JV?
I like WCW
You liked it more?
until the Austin stuff.
Oh, yeah. Well, at this point, we're deep into Austin, so.
Oh, at this point,
Yeah.
full blown. Like I wasn't a big Goldberg fan, and he's kind of like, you know, he's the hottest thing going in WCW at this point. Always kind of looked at him as like a Stone Cold ripoff,
Yeah, me too.
like right from the get go. Bald guy, you know
Right.
what I mean? Like he was cool. Like I liked Goldberg. I didn't hate him, but I don't know. At this point, I was full blown WWE. Like,
Yeah, they
all
could have
in.
gave him some different types of trunks. They don't have to give him the same exact color trunks and boots.
Yeah, like you can see WCW at this point already kind of losing their way. This is when they had the inmates running the asylum.
Yeah,
And you could see it coming across on television. So
very true.
obviously, with the finger poke of doom and all this shit going on, like, yeah, you got Jericho was like red hot at this time, and they're just like burying him, not giving him a fucking chance. And every time he's on TV for Nitro, if I'm not mistaken, at this point, he's a hit. Like the crowd reacts. I remember liking him at this point. I think he has Rufus at this point, or it might be early, but I think it was in 90.
I think in 99. Yeah,
fat
yeah.
guy.
I think it's coming, or maybe it's going on at this point. Maybe it's yet to come. But yeah, he's
like he's wearing the belly shirts and all that shit. Like the
he's getting himself over.
I love Jericho. Like, yep. Despite
all the bullshit going on,
his division and everything basically being fucking frowned upon, and all the bullshit he had going on. So no, I was WWE. But there were still people that were hardcore WCW at this time. Like, fuck WWE, WCW.
Yeah, I think it's kind of like a generational gap too, though. I mean, I know there's a lot of people that were our age that maybe prefer WCW, but I think the WWE audience, WWF audience, was more like teens to like 25, whereas WCW was more like 25 plus, where they like the different style of wrestling, more just wrestling.
Yeah.
WCW is not going to...
No, you're right, because my...
Go ahead.
No, you can go. No, you can go.
I was going to say, WCW didn't start to get crazy with the gimmick stuff until later in 99 when Vince Russo came in. That's when they started to get really silly. But prior to Vince Russo coming in, they were... Other than NWO bullshit, and that is what it is, they were pretty straightforward, like, this is wrestling matches. We got wrestling matches, and there wasn't many crazy storylines. Other than the NWO related stuff.
Well, yeah, it's Sting. I think they definitely had elaborate stories.
Yeah, but it's all connected to NWO.
Right, and it was an NWO show. Like there was a point where it's like, are they WCW or are they NWO? They kind of blurred that line as to what. It's almost like NWO was its own what's
promotion.
The word? Holy shit, it's right there. I can't grab promotion. So, but like back when I was this age, 14, my dad used to play softball every Sunday. And during the week and stuff, but all of the guys on his softball team, so you got to figure these guys are in, I was 14, they're like late 30s, early 40s, which speaks to your point about people being over 25 preferring WCW. There's truth to that because everybody on my dad's softball team, most of these guys watched WCW and were NWO fans. Like, I remember there was guys with like NWO T-shirts, they were the Wolf Pack that hit home runs and do the fucking...
Too sweet.
The Too Sweet. I swear to God. Yeah, and even J.O., a friend of ours, J.O., he was a WCW kid. We were both the same age, but he was more of a WCW fan than he was WWE because I used to watch wrestling events with him sometimes too. Yeah. So, because his dad was a big wrestling fan, and him and my dad were like best friends. So, like, no, there's definitely truth. What you said, I can relate to. I lived it, and there was truth. People over 25 liked WCW more. I don't remember the guys talking about, like, there was, like, Stone Cold. Like, a lot of these older guys did not like DX.
Yeah, because it's too kiddish.
Like, my dad hated DX. Like, hated them.
Right, because it's so immature.
He hated most things WWE at the time, except for, like, Stone Cold and Mankind. I remember my dad loving Mankind. Because he was
Cactus Jack.
He was Cactus Jack. Yeah, and my dad was always more of a, even growing up, my dad was always more of a WCW guy. That's the shit he used to watch, and that was my exposure to WCW.
Yeah, because it's true. Even back in the early 90s, WCW, while their company may have been the shits, their wrestling was still like traditional type of wrestling, like kicking each other's asses. And, at times they thought to have gimmicks, but it was just a wrestling show.
And these older guys were watching Macho Man, Hulk Hogan, and these guys in the early 80s when they were in their 20s.
Or teens.
So these are the guys teens, and these are the guys they're following.
Yep. So that all makes sense.
Speaking from experience, you're right. At that time, people over 25, at least in their late 30s, early 40s, for damn sure, were WCW guys.
All right, so, yeah, that was a good little segue there. It was a good little conversation. Yeah.
No, that was good.
But yeah, into this match, though, I don't want to cover all the little details. Definitely take a look at this match. Basically, it's going to come down to it's a really good match, and it's going to go back and forth. Well, the finish here is the Rock's going to go for a DDT. The Rock gets double arm DDT'd rather, and he's barely going to kick out, and Mankind's going to then pull out Sacco. So the Rock's going to turn right into it, and he goes right down. Shamrock's going to interfere. He comes in. Remember, this is no DQ, so you have the Corporation running in and out. Even DX is on the side of Mankind here in this match. and they're going in there. Mankind, it looks like he's going to go down here at this point, but Austin's music's going to hit. Austin comes out, and that's at 1 hour 31 minutes. So the return of Austin, finally, crowd goes fucking nuts, of course. And what would be the return of Stone Cold Steve Austin if he didn't have a new T-shirt? So
Yeah, which is fitting. Long sleeve
winter.
for the
Yep.
winter months.
So you got this new long sleeve tee. It's skull and crossbones with the traditional Austin letter type written across, and then all along the side of the sleeve you have skull and bones going all the way down. So that's a new shirt alert. I think that's like number 10.
And I think you and I can speak from experience. During these months in Worcester, as it's pronounced.
Now Worcester.
It's cold as fuck.
Cold as fuck.
Yeah, it's cold as fuck. So long sleeve was fitting. And I bet it sold well in Worcester.
Yeah, Worcester. Not Worcester.
Not Worcester. It's Worcester.
You know, Worcestershire sauce.
Yeah.
I was watching a show.
How do other people say it? I always say Worcester.
I say Worcester too. But, Worcestershire sauce, like steak sauce or whatever. Worcestershire sauce.
Yeah.
I was watching a show with my wife, and it was so funny. We say it all the time. It was a while back, actually, maybe like a year ago. And there was this guy who owns a restaurant or whatever it is on Phantom Gourmet. It's a show up here in the Northeast where they go to local restaurants. And there's this guy in the local restaurant, and he's saying that he puts Worcestershire sauce on whatever it was that he was making. But the way he pronounced it was so hilarious. He called it Worcestershire sauce. Worcestershire.
Oh, wow.
Worcestershire sauce.
Not an authentic New
No,
Englander.
he came from somewhere else. He's like, you gotta put the Worcestershire sauce on it. Like, what the fuck?
Idiot. Yeah. And it's a local show, so that's the worst part.
Yeah, so everybody watching it's like, what the hell is Worcestershire?
Yeah.
All right, so Stone Cold comes out. The crowd's going to go nuts here. And Austin's going to help Mankind win the title. So, this is a big moment, but it's still related to Austin. And I forgot this. I forgot that Austin is the reason why Mankind won the title.
You know what? I did too.
Yeah. Austin comes out there, whacks The Rock, throws Mankind on top of The Rock, and he gets the 3 count. And there it is. So Austin helped Mankind win the title, and not that he wants to help Mankind win the title, but it's more of like, fuck you, McMahon's, and fuck you, Rock. You don't have the title anymore.
Yep.
So it's not like he's like, oh, I want to win the title from The Rock. He doesn't give a shit. He just wants the title off of The Rock, cause some chaos. So the crowd goes nuts. Vince is pissed off, of course. Mankind DX is celebrating in the ring. Mankind's up on the shoulders of Billy Gunn and Road Dogg. And, just a fucking great moment in wrestling history right here. The underdog, finally, all the hard work that he's done in these years, he gets the WWF Championship. And they show the clips, all the way back when he was a kid pretending to be a wrestler in his backyard with his friend, saying that he's going to become the World Wrestling Federation champion. So they get to use that footage now and just make the story even greater. And he does the yo Adrian, I did it. and he's saying to his son, Daddy did it for you guys. So definitely a great moment in wrestling history. It's funny, the clip we listened to before, Tony Schiavone, that'll put butts in the seats. Well, it did put butts in the seats. People wanted to see Mankind. In the next week of Raw, you're going to see that people are wicked excited to see Mankind as the WWF champion. And it's funny because that was one of the big nights for Nitro, and on Raw on that same day, January 4th, 1999, you had this great moment for WWF of Mankind winning the title, and then you have one of the notorious segments happening on Nitro that they were up against, and Tony Schiavone is like playing off like, oh, you're gonna watch that shit, you're gonna miss out on this great match, and it's Hulk Hogan versus Kevin Nash, and it's the finger poke of doom, where Hogan just pushes Kevin Nash and he falls on his back, and Hogan gets the 1-2-3, wins the title, because NWO was in cahoots with each other, and Kevin Nash just gave the title to Hulk Hogan. So that's what this show was up against. And
I remember hating this then. I remember fucking hating that.
it was so stupid. It didn't make any sense. Why are you having this feud?
It was ridiculous.
Why would Kevin Nash give up the title to Hogan? Like, oh yeah, well, you're my boy. Here's the title. Fuck you.
Yeah. That was the beginning of the end for.
Yeah.
Everything was downhill from there for WCW, if I'm not mistaken. I think that's what most like wrestling historians, pretty much say.
Right. They call it the finger poke of doom, but it's not only finger poke of doom as a move; it's a finger poke of doom to the whole promotion.
Yeah.
You know, double entendre.
It's a slap in the face to all the performers backstage, the boys in the back.
Yep.
It's dumb.
Yeah, it's just it was the inmates running the asylum, just those guys, NWO guys that were like, "Oh, let's do this. This would be cool."
Yeah, and this is when the internet was starting to,
it was really pretty big at this point.
Get like its feet under it, so you could actually read wrestling dirt sheets at this time.
Yep. Yeah, dirt sheets or even like I don't know if it was blogs yet, but yeah, people had their own websites where they were posting information.
Yeah, because the results used to come out on some of the shows before, and I remember reading them online.
Yep, the tape shows. Yeah, for Raw.
Yeah, and I think that's how I mean, I don't remember if I was watching Nitro when the spoiler alert came out or not, but I remember knowing it was happening, and I thought it was because I had found it online earlier in the day or something stupid, or after school. It would have been actually.
Yeah,
I don't know. I don't remember. But it was like fucking web crawler or something stupid.
On a GeoCities site.
Yeah.
All right, so that was a great moment there. Like I was saying, 600,000 people switched from Nitro to Raw when Tony Schiavone made that comment. That's speculation on who knows exactly what the number is, but
yeah, get the hell out of here. They didn't have that kind of tracking technology in 1998.
But even regardless, though, I guess the numbers totally switched at that point.
Yeah.
For segment to segment.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so now you got Mankind as the champion, leading us into Raw 294, January 11th, 1999. So Austin is back in the picture here, and Mankind's going to cut a damn good promo to start the show. It's fucking long, and definitely go take a look at it, though. It's I think it's the longest opening promo for Raw up to that point. So it's not only Mankind, but it's also The Rock comes out, the McMahons come out. So Mankind's going to just talk about how he's excited. You know, he's got new music finally. You get the classic tire screeching music that he uses to this very day when he makes appearances. So
love that.
That debuted here on January 11th. He wants to thank Jim Ross, who got him the job, basically. Says that he hopes he gets well soon, and that he wants to hear him call a Mankind Championship match. And he also thanks DX, but then he also wants to thank a guy from Texas. They're in Texas. They're in Houston, Texas for this live episode of Raw. And he says, I know this guy's a little shy, but I hope he won't mind. Thank you, Stone Cold Steve Austin. I owe you one. He says the Royal Rumble is called No Chance in Hell. He says you have at least one chance in hell. You'll be in the Royal Rumble, and it's my dream to main event WrestleMania, but WrestleMania is not WrestleMania without Stone Cold Steve Austin in the main event. I want to wrestle you, Stone Cold, at WrestleMania. And that would have been cool, just to have that, too. But we know, The Rock's the big guy, and of course he's going to be involved. So The Rock comes out at that point, and he's like, no. It's not going to be Stone Cold versus you at WrestleMania. The Rock's going to be at WrestleMania. So The Rock comes out with the McMahons, and he claims that he was never beat. And Mankind's like, well, yeah, I beat you like 3 times already. And The Rock's like, I want a title shot at Royal Rumble. Mankind says, well, I don't think you're championship material. Which is great. Because now The Rock's like, fuck. I'm screwed now. I'm not the champion.
Yeah.
He's telling me I can't get a title shot. So he just keeps asking, like, oh, how about no DQ? How about no count out? He's like, how about no thank you, Rock? Mankind says so.
So cocky.
Yeah. So The Rock says he has no balls, and then that leads Mankind to accepting the match, like he's Marty McFly when Biff calls him chicken. Nobody calls me chicken. Nobody. So yeah,
I always think of that too.
So Mankind, it's like our friend Marty McFly, and our friend Marty. Somebody calls him chicken.
Yeah,
He's gonna.
it is.
I'm not chicken. So Mankind has that little dilemma here where someone pointed him out as having no balls. Well, he's gonna have balls. He's gonna accept the match. So he accepts the match. He says, "I'm the champ until I lose the title. If you smell la 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 la, the sock is cooking." And then they cut to Stone Cold entering the building. At that point, McMahon is gonna point out that, Mankind, you're defending the championship tonight against Kane. So he has a title match against Kane. Austin's going to come out during this match and not save the day, because The Rock's going to come out and prevent Kane from winning the title. Kane's about to hit a tombstone, and The Rock's going to come in and interfere so that Kane doesn't win the title, because The Rock wants to face Mankind. The Rock doesn't want to face Kane for the title. So that's why The Rock came out. And then right after that, Austin comes out, and Mankind's going to give the chair to Austin. And then he's going to try to give the chair to Austin, rather. But then Austin just gives him a gut shot and gives the stunner to Mankind. So while he helped him win the title, this week he's like, screw you. I'm not your buddy. I've never been your buddy. I just helped you out here and there. Stunner. Just putting him on notice, basically. Like, I'm going after you. I'm going after the title. We're not buddies. I was only trying to screw The Rock. And now I want my title back. So he gives him a little stunner there. So that's what you had in that match. They go back to another segment where McMahon training. He's training in the snow. They got some fake Rocky music playing. And later in the night, there's going to be a corporate Royal Rumble. And the stipulation here is that whoever wins the corporate Royal Rumble is going to be number 30 in the Rumble. So we have Austin at 1. McMahon is at 2. And now we're going to determine who number 30 is. So it's DX basically against corporations. 10 contestants. DX and the corporation. So it looks like at one point it's going to come down to Bossman and Triple H in this Rumble. But then the buzzer goes off again, and McMahon comes out, and it's like, oh shit, he's gonna go get number 30 now, because he's part of the corporation, so he can be in it. So he looks freaking jacked as shit when he comes out. It's like, oh yeah, he has been training. He looks huge. So Triple H is calling him down, and while that happens, Bossman's gonna go up to Triple H, and they're starting to battle at the ropes, and McMahon gets into the ring finally. He dumps Bossman and Triple H, so it looks like McMahon's the winner, number 30. But then the buzzer goes off one more time. And prior to that buzzer going off, McMahon does his best Hulk Hogan impersonation and rips his shirt.
Jacked, too. Dude's a beast.
Yep. So the buzzer goes off, and it's Chyna. So Chyna's putting herself into this Rumble. And Chyna beats up the Stooges. Austin heads out. And Austin distracts McMahon. So Chyna sneaks up from behind and tosses McMahon out of the ring. And it looked like Vince's his head was gonna pop off, because it gets caught underneath the bottom rope as he's falling out of the ring. That's at 1 hour, 34 minutes, and 57 seconds. You got to see that. Nearly decapitated. And Chyna ultimately gets that spot. So Chyna's gonna be number 30 in the Royal Rumble. Fucking Chyna in the Rumble. There you have it. So that kind of concludes things here. So throughout December and January, you had this build-up to Mankind winning the title. The corporation was on the rise. The Rock was the champion, trying to screw Mankind out of it. But Mankind ultimately won the gold because Austin made his return and helped Mankind get that title off of The Rock. But now Austin's back. He wants the gold back. He's number 1 in the Rumble, and he wants to win it so that he can get his match at WrestleMania. So that's where we are now. But we do have some other stuff going on the side. And last week, on episode 38, 2 weeks ago, we got into the ministry. So there is a little bit of ministry stuff going on here in our Attitude Era update. And it starts off slowly on Raw from December 21st, you have the Acolytes versus the Job Squad, and the Acolytes beat them. So it seems like nothing really going on at this point. But then the next week on Raw, the Acolytes come out and they beat up Dennis Knight. They put him in the trunk of a car. So you're wondering, what the hell are the Acolytes going after Dennis Knight? And Dennis Knight is Phineas Godwin. He was in Southern Justice recently. So he's
That's funny to me, the name Southern Justice. I still can't believe how much they were on TV for that few months.
Yeah, I know.
I forgot about that.
So he's dumped in the car, and then the very next week on January 4th, you see him tied up in a torture chamber, yelling and screaming. And then he gets thrown back into the room later, and he's yelling and screaming. And then the following week here on Raw from January 11th, 1999, we have Dennis Knight screaming. He comes to ringside. He's yelling, the One is coming. He's coming tonight, the One. Then the Acolytes come out and grab him. And then later on in the show at 1 hour and 6 minutes, you see the Undertaker symbol there on the stage. You also see an Undertaker symbol chair, like a throne. And you get the religious chants. You get the Druids. Dennis Knight is being brought out by the Acolytes. He's laid out there. And then Undertaker's music hits, and it's the return of the Undertaker. He hasn't been around since the Buried Alive match at Rock Bottom a month before. And he has his new hood gear. What do you think of the hood gear?
I like it.
I like it too. It
looks cool with him sitting on like the throne, whatever the fuck you want to call it.
I'll call it a throne. He looks menacing. He looks like a fucking evil heel, big time heel. And the funny thing is here, they're playing audio of the Undertaker talking. It's not him on a mic. He doesn't have like a mic piece on the side of his mouth or anything. It's legit audio going through the PA of things that he recorded earlier. And my first thought was, The Undertaker has sucked on promos when he's had to do them live with saying all this shit. So I guarantee who's sitting in the back with the script reading it. And they recorded it because they didn't want him fucking up live.
Huh.
Yeah. And then if you watch closely,
makes sense.
The Undertaker, because at first the Undertaker's not reading along with it. He's not like lip syncing. But then later, like, I don't know, a minute later, 30 seconds later, you can see him trying to lip sync it. But not that great at all either. So, yeah. So I don't think they trust the Undertaker's promo skills. So he had to record his shit earlier. So I guess the main thing he says, I'm the purity of evil. And the Undertaker starts speaking in tongues again, doing his little fucking Charles Lee Ray. Paul Bearer is back with them. He's there with them. And he has a little knife. The knife, I think, is in the design of the Undertaker logo. You get like the U forming and then the T with the blade. And he tells Dennis Knight, you are no longer Dennis Knight, you are Midian. Then Taker cuts blood from himself. He pours blood into a chalice and pours it into his mouth. And the knife gimmick, of course, probably had like a button where blood came out of the tip and then it would be put onto your arm. I mean, that's like an old Halloween fucking toy. Is to have the blood in the blade, and then you press the button and it just drips out of the edge of it. So they did that. They had that little gimmick. And then they pour it into his mouth, and then you get a lightning bolt, and it set the symbol on fire. And now Dennis Knight has become Midian, the first major sacrifice, the Ministry of Darkness. So that's our update with the Ministry of Darkness. You got supply and demand. I don't think there's anything really going on with supply and demand other than at the very end on January 11th, you had Val Venus have a match with Shamrock, and Val Venus is flirting with a girl in the front row, and apparently it's Ken Shamrock's sister, and Shamrock is pissed off and comes down and is going to fight off Val Venus and yells at his sister.
Really?
Yeah. It's Ryan Shamrock. It's kayfabe, not really his sister. Which is funny because I'm pretty sure Ken Shamrock goes on to date this girl that played his sister. So if anybody that didn't know they weren't really brother and sister, saw them out like at dinner or whatever, could have been weird, depending on how they were behaving. And I guess then later in the show, Billy Gunn's going to come out and flashes ass to Shamrock's sister. And then Shamrock's going to go run out there again and get all pissed off. And he's going to give Billy Gunn an IC title match because he wants to fight him. So they're going to fight at Royal Rumble for the IC title. So yeah, we get the introduction of Ryan Shamrock, and that's going to be a little storyline going on for a while here. In 1999, we have the Blue Blazer, Jeff Jarrett, Deborah storyline going on. I mean, there's not really much more to cover with this because we know that the Blue Blazer story is back and forth where it's Owen Hart, it's not Owen Hart, it's Jeff Jarrett, it's not Jeff Jarrett. So that's continuing. You know, Owen Hart gets unmasked as the Blazer. Jeff Jarrett's going to run out and cover his face, and then the next week you have Jeff Jarrett be revealed, and Owen Hart's going to run out and try to cover the face of the Blue Blazer. So just more of that shit going on. But Owen Hart's also wrestling as himself now, too. Not only as the Blue Blazer. And, yeah, was there anything...
So was
there anything on this?
He's doing double duty.
I mean, it's just unfortunate for Owen Hart to be in this situation.
Yeah, he's in creative limbo.
They don't know what to do with him.
And he's really fall victim to... I feel like he's a victim of what happened with his brother still at this point, as far from a booking perspective.
I think so too.
Not with what actually ends up happening to the poor guy. I don't obviously as bad as WWE felt about Bret Hart, I doubt. Because you have some like crazy conspiracy people that think like
no way
they intentionally did. It's like, no, are you crazy? They're lucky that didn't do as much harm to the product as you know. If an insurance company was assessing the damage of the fallout of something like that, like, you know, damage to brand probably would have, you know, could have been a lot worse.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, creative limbo is a good way to put it. They don't know what to do with Owen Hart at this point, and it's unfortunate. But, we got Mark Henry, and this is who they're deciding to push, actually, is Mark Henry, not Owen Hart. And Mark Henry just seems to be like in almost every other segment on Raw throughout March 14th. Not March 14th. Why do you keep saying March or May? Fucking December. December 14th through all the way till January 11th is just nonstop Henry. And just to kind of wrap it up real quickly, I don't want to go through every little thing, but Mark Henry has become sexual chocolate at this point. He's got the Barry White type music playing now. D'Lo Brown's kind of annoyed with him at times because he's distracted. He's too into the girls. Mm-hmm. So we got Terry Runnels and Jacqueline. They're now in the picture with them. And they're all over Mark Henry, and they're starting to get into some weird shit with him. They're starting to get a dog collar on him. They're gonna whip him.
Yeah.
So they're doing some kinky shit with him. Yeah, they actually like put an electrical thing on his nuts. Yeah, so some weird shit going on there. And Terry and Jackie actually are called PMS at this time. PMS, Pretty Mean Sisters.
That's right. Yeah.
And Chyna's still involved in this storyline a little bit. Mark Henry still likes Chyna, but now he has these other girls around, and Chyna's not really cool with that. So Chyna's gonna come down and threaten the other girls and tell them to stay away from his man, from her man. But then, which is funny because funny I say that is because Chyna does start. She's coming down the ring with a girl, Sammy, her friend Sammy, who looks like a fucking dude in drag. And I don't know where this storyline goes because I don't remember it, but this looks like a man, Sammy. And her face is covered a lot with a long-haired wig. So you can't really tell, but it just doesn't look right. It doesn't look like a girl. If she is a girl, she's fucking ugly. So
damn, right for the throat, bro. Guy's not fucking around. Hope she don't listen to this.
I'm pretty sure it's a guy. I don't remember, but I'm pretty sure it's a guy. So, one of the worst parts about this, though, is you have a match with D'Lo Brown and Edge, and Terry comes down to the ring, and she gets hit accidentally by D'Lo Brown. Then she falls on the ground and she starts to claim like, "Oh, I'm hurt." She's pregnant or whatever, and
Yeah, she's holding her stomach. I did see.
She's yelling and screaming
because I love Terry.
This becomes the miscarriage, basically. So they had brought up that she was pregnant a while back with Val Venus, and now they want to conclude this whole thing because she was never pregnant in the first place. So, if there's no baby that comes, then something had to happen. So they explained the miscarriage was because of D'Lo Brown, which is pretty creepy, pretty shitty. It's just shitty in general to ever do that. Like, I'm pregnant. Like, they actually used this storyline last week on Raw.
Yeah, with Maria.
Yeah, Maria. Maria's pregnant now, but she's not really pregnant. Like,
I don't have an issue with them doing that.
I don't have the issue with it unless they're going to just say that the girl was being a bitch and I was just trying to get my way, so I wanted to say I was pregnant, even though I never was.
Yeah.
Like, they could have had Terry do that. Like, I was just trying to get Val Venus, make Goldust mad. But they went with the direction of, we have to make it look like there was a miscarriage caused.
Someone died. An unborn baby.
Someone had to die
on Raw.
Right. Right. That's fucking dumb. They could have just went the other direction with it. All right, so that's what goes on with that. On the Brood front, you get the bloodbaths. The bloodbaths are just coming week after week now. Which, JV, you love that shit, right?
Yeah, I love it. I loved the Brood, though. I was a huge Brood fan. They're fucking vampires.
And going back and watching this, Christian was fucking awesome. Christian is better than Edge at this point.
I always thought, even watching this then. No, see, I always liked Edge. I guess I was too young to notice, but Christian, I haven't even noticed it now, but I believe you that Christian is probably better than Edge at this point. But I always knew Gangrel was the worst of the three, and I liked Gangrel.
Yeah, you're right. I thought Gangrel was the worst of the three, but not worse as in he sucked.
Right,
he just wasn't the same as Edge and Christian. Edge and Christian had like the it factor. Maybe because, I don't know, this sounds weird, but they look better. They're better looking than Gangrel.
Yeah, they're better shape. They meet the eye test.
Right, and they look like stars. Mm-hmm. Like they could be stars.
I mean, obviously they liked Christian from the get-go. What, his first match, he won the light heavyweight championship, was it? Or light heavyweight or European?
Yeah,
light heavyweight.
Yeah, the light heavyweight.
Yeah.
So yeah, definitely Christian was a solid worker already at that point. Edge is still working on things. Edge's first match, remember he injured the guy?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
The Los Barriqua.
No, yeah, not Vega, the other dude. I forget his name.
Like Jose Estrada.
Yeah. Was it Estrada?
Maybe Jose. I think it was Jose Estrada. Or McGill.
One of the more irrelevant of them.
Right. I think it was the hairy back guy. Well, anyway, yeah, so Christian was definitely the better worker at that time. Probably a better worker overall in general, just Edge became a big star.
Yeah, yep, he had more of the it factor to him.
Yep. And I think the last thing to wrap it up with is Gilbert. Gilbert makes his appearance, and now we had Dwayne Gill. I'm like, what the hell is his name now? Yeah. Dwayne Gill. He was becomes the light heavyweight champion, but now finally on the January 11th episode of Raw, they have him doing the whole Bill Goldberg gimmick where security is at his door. Tony Gurria, the agent, Tony Gurria's gonna knock on the door. He's gonna bang on it 3 times, and then Dwayne Gill comes out as Gilbert and walks out to the ring.
He has a belt on too, doesn't he?
Yeah, he has the light heavyweight championship.
Oh yeah, that's right. He's the champ.
Yeah, and the Job Squad is around him on the entrance, and they have all sparklers, which I love. Just sparklers, like that's the poor man's pyro.
It's the little kid pyro. Like, look, I got fireworks.
Yeah, I got a sparkler.
And he's jerking his head with his tongue out, like constantly stretching out his shoulders. You know what I mean? Like shoulder shrugging, like Goldberg used to do.
Then he has the little shitty fake tattoo. It's just like lines across his arm, like separated by like a little space.
Looks like barcode.
Yeah,
I don't remember what it looks like, but
It looks like
describing
Morse
it,
code.
it's like, yeah,
It's like Morse code or something.
it's like Billy Knight's barbed wire tattoo. Inside joke.
Billy Knight. Yeah. So Gilbert gets on the mic because Gilbert doesn't want to know who's next. Gilbert wants to know who's first. And then Luna Vachon runs out, which is great because like Luna Vachon kicked the shit out of Dwayne Gill. So he gets Luna up into the jackhammer, but Luna reverses it, and Luna actually wins the match. But then at the end of the match, Sable's stalker, who becomes, we know as Tori, right? Tori. All right.
Yep, Tori.
Not Tori. Yeah.
Yeah, Tori.
Right, so Tori. Okay. So the stalker who's been at ringside, going back months at this point, which they haven't showed in a couple months, but months back, she was always saying hi to Sable at ringside, and they would always cut to her when Sable came out. And she finally comes out. She attacks Luna because Luna had just recently screwed Sable. So Sable's in a match with the Spider Lady, and Sable's defending the title against the Spider Lady, who was actually Luna Vachon. So this is revenge for Luna going after Sable as the Spider Lady. That's that. So that kind of wraps up. That's a lot of stuff that we just went through. A lot of stuff we covered. You know, there wasn't a whole lot of Austin, but we got to get through this month. It relates to Austin ultimately because it brings us to Austin helping Mankind win the title, and then Austin getting his spot as number 1 in the Royal Rumble, which is what we'll be covering next week. JV, was there anything else before we get to the wrap up here?
No, nothing. But now we're back to getting Austin every week heading into, since it's now WrestleMania season, I'd imagine, right?
Right. Yep. So we're going to get a lot of Austin coming up in 1999. You know, the thing that's unfortunate though is late in 1999, he's going to go away for a year. So we're going to skip ahead a year later, not too long from now. You know, he's not involved in much of 2000.
Yeah, we'll have to do a recap show just to.
Yeah, just a little one.
Just set the
see what's
stage.
going on.
Yeah,
for his return.
I know we like to stay. I do like to stay Austin centric.
You're right.
But, if we're gonna have a big gap like that, it helps set the stage. So
yeah, like who the hell's the star? Who's in the company now? What's been going on? Yeah,
repaint the picture for everybody that may have forgotten that's reliving this like we are. So
yeah, that's gonna be a lot to have to look at in a week though. So we might have to buffer that with like a special edition watch along.
Yeah, we'll figure it out.
So we have All right, so let's get now into the bottom line wrap up here. So the house show rundown. Hey, Austin wasn't there because if Austin wasn't on Raw, he definitely wasn't on the fucking house show. So from December 14th to at least January 11th, Austin is not on any house show. And this will bring us now to our oh hell yeah moment of the week. I'll go first this time. Okay. And you probably have the same thing as me or something similar, but I have Austin helping Mankind win the WWF Championship.
Yeah, that's a moment. That's a no-brainer. That's my oh hell yeah moment. My runner-up is DX impersonating the Corporation, because I just loved when DX impersonated. I love when we could see the Croc and all these guys dress up as these other schmucks in the WWE at the time. They do good. They do good impersonations. Yeah. They're shitty, but they're good. They work.
Yep. Those are always funny. I wish there would have been more. I think those are the only two, though. Pretty sure.
Yeah, I think that's the only two times they do it.
I mean, actually, it does happen later when DX makes a return, and you get Shawn Michaels as Shane McMahon.
But does while we're on that quick, is that Jason Sensation as HBK?
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
I meant
that
to
was
ask
Jason
that.
Sensation.
All right, it was. Man, that guy's got a wide range of talent. I mean, I know he shows it the first time he shows up as Owen Hart. Like, they have him on commentary, I think, like the following week.
Yeah, he does commentary. He does HBK's voice. And HBK's on commentary with him, too.
Yeah.
And that's when Owen Hart comes running out and attacks him. After he does Owen Hart again. When HBK's like, oh, do Owen Hart. Yeah, and he attacks him there. All right, now let's go to the oh hell no moment of the week. And we got a sound clip for the oh hell no moment of the week this time. Oh hell no! In my oh hell no moment of the week. I'll go. Actually, JV, you go first this time.
Mine's first is the Buried Alive match.
Oh, that's a good one. Fuck.
I mean, it's rough but it's not terrible, but it's very underwhelming.
Oh, I like that.
And had we not watched it together, as you said, to kick off the show, and we covered that. I mean, it would have been painful to get through. Probably would have picked up my phone, stopped paying attention. Who knows?
Yeah, I like that. I like your pick. I don't mean I like the match. I like.
Oh, I know what
I
you
like your
meant.
pick. Yeah. So I'm gonna go. I'm gonna change mine. I'm gonna go with that. But I'll tell you what my oh hell no moment was prior to you saying that. Man, I don't know how I didn't think of that. That's one of the shittiest matches.
Well, I always change my picks as we go. Usually the hell no changes unless it's the Insane Clown Posse, which we didn't see. They might have been. Maybe I missed them, but
I think they're gone now. Pretty sure they're gone. But there was one show. I think it was Rock Bottom that in the fourth row there were two guys dressed up as Violent J and Shaggy.
Kick them out. Kick them out. They don't belong. Kick them out. Kick them out. Arrest them. Don't need juggalos. Don't need juggalos. There's no room in the world for them. Fucking stupid.
Down with the clown.
Yeah, no, not down with them. Nope.
All right, so my other hell no moment, my original one was going to be the whole Mark Henry storyline in the miscarriage with Terry.
That's a good one too.
So yeah, that's definitely. Oh hell no! All right,
could
so
we have
coming
used
up,
the finger poke of doom since it came up?
Oh fuck! You could have used that too.
I guess we could have, even though it wasn't. It did come up, but
I did contemplate using Tony Schiavone's comment as a hell no.
That's another good one. We got tons of good hell no's. Sometimes we're struggling to figure out what we're gonna pick, but
yeah, that was a good one too. All right, so coming up next week on the Bottom Line Wrestling Cast on July 17th, next Wednesday, we'll be covering, and it'll be our 40th episode. Another big episode, 40.
You know what that means, right?
What's that?
Yes. We're going to be drinking 40s. You need to get your ass to the liquor store, get the cheapest 40 you can buy, and that's what we're drinking next week when we record episode 40.
A 40-ounce to freedom.
Yeah. Yes. I don't know if we're really going to do that, but I might.
Hey, maybe if you remind me, I'll go grab one.
Go get your Steel Reserve.
Yeah. All right. So next week on episode 40, we're not going to cover as much as we did this week. We're gonna slow it down a little bit. We're gonna cover the next Raw, the Go Home show to Royal Rumble, and we'll cover Royal Rumble and the Royal Rumble match. That's what we're gonna do next week. That's the plan. If it looks like it's a little too short, maybe we'll squeeze in one more Raw. But that's what we have it set at right now, is to cover the next Raw and the Royal Rumble pay-per-view in the match. And then we'll have a
watch-along, right?
We'll have a watch-along coming up the following week for the Royal Rumble 99, as we like to do when we get to Royal Rumble time. So
love those.
That'll be coming up. And those are always definitely fun, and those are always been hot downloads for our Royal Rumble watch-alongs. So we'll definitely give you this one too. Even though it's not an Austin winning one, but it's Austin. It's called No Chance in Hell because Austin has no chance in hell to win it, and he doesn't. But we should definitely watch along with it. So that'll be coming up too the week after that. And let's give a little shout out to our wrestling pals here. Last week we had Alex Story on the show with us from Talking Taker. Let's listen to what Alex has to say. You hear it every week, but take a listen again. Alex Storio, Talking Taker.
Dead man walking.
Oh, hell yeah. What's up, Stone Cold fans? This is Alex Dorio, one of the hosts of Talking Taker. And along with my co-host and fellow creature of the night, Travis White, we are digging up the career of the dead man, one pay-per-view match at a time, on a podcast journey that's a lot like what you're listening to right now on the Bottom Line Wrestling Cast. So if you're enjoying what Mike and JV are doing here, going through the career of Stone Cold Steve Austin, come check us out as we explore the Undertaker's 3 decades of destruction. We're right in the midst of the Biker Taker era right now, so you can jump right in or start over from the beginning and hear us discuss the Undertaker's side of the story from his many battles with the Rattlesnake, The Rock, Mankind, and more. We're available on Apple Podcasts, Google Play, YouTube, Spotify, and more. And you can also follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at Talking Taker. Thanks to Mike and JV for letting us plug the show, and take her easy. What? I said, take her easy.
All right, so definitely take a look at Talking Taker. You can get them on Twitter at Talking Taker. And this week on their show, they'll be covering WrestleMania 20's match, Undertaker versus Kane. So take a listen to them. Now, if you like what we're doing here, you'll like what they're doing. I mean, it'd be a cool thing, too, to compare, too. Like, you know, we're coming up on Royal Rumble 99. Go back into their archives and listen to their episode about this time and see how we both take a look at it. So definitely take a look at Talking Taker. Good shit there. If you want to go way back too, go back to 1990. They have some great coverage of early Undertaker. So go back, look in their archives. Great show. And also want to give a shout out to Booking the Territory, the Unprofessional Wrestling Podcast with our friend Mike Mills and his boys Hardbody Hopper and Doc Turner. They are covering episodes of NWA, WCW, the old Saturday night show from TBS. And they are currently in 1988. They started all the way back in 1985, and they are now at March 12th, 1988. And their new episode drops tomorrow on Thursday. And then later this week on Sunday, they do their Smoky Mountain Wrestling recap, and they're currently at episode 151, which is December 17th, 1994. So getting their way to Christmas Chaos, 1994, in Smoky Mountain Wrestling. And again, like I said before at the top of the show, JV and I are now on that Booking the Territory Patreon feed for the $5 tier, and we have our Extreme ECW livecast. We are 4 episodes in. We have covered 8 episodes of Hardcore TV, ECW Hardcore TV, May 18th and 25th. That episode is available now, so you have 4 episodes available if you want to join up with their Patreon. Support them. They have a lot of great content on there, and also you can get our show, the Extreme ECW livecast there. JV and I have a lot of fun with that. We'll be recording another episode later this week that will release next week. So looking forward to that. So check that out.
Hey, before you leave, hey!
You want to reach out to us here on the Bottom Line Cast, we are at Bottom Line Cast on Twitter.
What?
And we're available. If you want to share with your friends our show, tell them to search Bottom Line Wrestling Cast. We're on iTunes, Stitcher, Podbean, Spotify, TuneIn,
What?
Google Play, Radio Public, and many other podcast providers out there.
What?
So give us a follow on Twitter, on Facebook page, like I said, at Bottom Line Cast. You want to reach out to us personally on Twitter, I'm at MPRU83, and JV is at John Van Damage. If you're on iTunes, please consider giving us a 5-star review. That can help with all the algorithms and all the bullshit that maybe gets our show up there a little higher for people to see. So help us out if you're enjoying the show. Just want to thank you guys for being along for the ride. Numbers have gone up greatly over the past few weeks, and hoping that you guys are enjoying it and you stick around for the ride and go back and listen to our earlier episodes if you haven't yet. But again, just thanks a lot. JV and I put a lot of work into this, and it's great to see that our work is entertaining to some people. So thanks, guys, again. JV, any final words?
Nope.
All right, that's it. I'm Mike Prue along with JV. We're out of here. We'll see you next week. So long.